Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing Wes Anderson's new film Isle of Dogs. It stars Wes Anderson's usual alumni such as Bill Murray, Edward Norton, F. Murray Abraham, Harvey Keitel, Jeff Goldblum and Bob Balaban. And this time around he's working with Bryan Cranston, Scarlett Johansson, Greta Gerwig and Liev Schreiber. A mixture of stop motion and animation film, and the story is of Japan 20 years into the future. A canine flu has broken out in the city, and due to human beings fearful that they will catch this particular flu, they send all the dogs to Trash Island, which becomes Isle of Dogs. The dogs are left there to their own devices to fend for themselves and try and survive. We're introduced to a pack of misfit dogs who will be our main characters. Some of them are voiced by Bryan Cranston, Bill Murray, Bob Balaban, Jeff Goldblum and Edward Norton. Their life is interrupted when a young 12-year-old boy crashes his plane on the island. He's looking for his missing dog named Spots. Even though the dogs speak English for us to hear, the dogs and the young boy named Atari do not understand each other, but they understand each other enough in order to go on a journey. So the dogs help him go on a journey to find his missing dog Spots. And what an adventure that they do have. And they grow and learn along the way. There's a lot of humour happening, and they're getting to know each other as the movie goes along. Meanwhile, while this is happening, back in Japan, the mayor of Japan has decided to eradicate the dogs, as one, he's a cat person, and two, there's no cure for the dogs because of this canine flu that they have, and they can't come back to the city. So why this is happening, the dog and the young boy Atari are going on a journey to try and find his dog. Along the way, they meet some really interesting and fascinating characters, and they go through different parts of this island for a long, long journey to find this dog. Ultimately, in the end, it takes these group of misfit dogs to travel to the city to try and stop this, the dogs being killed, ultimately, along with this young boy. And it's just such a journey that they go on to try and stop this from happening. And there's a lot of these activists in the film along the way as well. One played by Greta Gerwig, who was an American exchange student in Japan, as part of this group, pro-dogs, trying to stop the dogs from being killed, and protesting the laws and things that are taking place. Look, I think this film is really, really great. Wes Anderson has outdone himself visually here. It's stop motion with a bit of animation as well, but the stop motion is amazing, like even down to the finest detail, like the wind going through the dog's fur. You get to see the fur move, to the smallest minute things such as pieces of food or rats or garbage or whatever on this island is so detailed. He would have spent so long doing this film. And the same with animating the dogs. Like, what a long process. But he does such a great job with it. His first film dealing with this sort of stop motion was Fantastic Mr. Fox. And I think he's come a long way since that film. And I think this is probably one of his best movies. I've never been sucked into a movie more. You meet these dogs, they all have different unique characteristics. They're all different kind of dogs and all have different types of personalities, and they're so unique in each one of them and individually, and as a pack as well. And there's some interesting characters you meet along the way, that other dogs that have different things or different abilities and stuff like that, and it's quite interesting to watch. And just the shots, his usual set up shots, and things unfold in those shots, and you've got dogs turning and dogs being dogs ultimately, which is fantastic, I thought. And it's such a journey. You want to go on this journey with this young boy Atari and the dogs to try and find his missing dog. You really sort of start to care about this kid. Very brave and intelligent, and he knows what he wants to do and what he wants to accomplish, and he doesn't give up. He keeps going, which is fantastic to watch. But the real sort of the real arc for one of the particular characters is Bryan Cranston's Chief. He starts as this sort of rough-looking dog who's been there a long time. He's never had an owner. He grew up on the streets. He's a stray dog. He feels separated, different from the rest of the pack because of this fact. He doesn't believe in masters. He's happy to live on the island as he is, where the others have come from having owners and want to return to that, and he doesn't quite know what that's like. And he starts that way and wants nothing to do with the young kid Atari. He just doesn't want anything to do because he doesn't want a master and stuff like that. And as the film progresses, he starts to warm to this young boy and starts to protect him and starts to want to look after him and be his. And it's just such a great arc for a character, especially a dog, but still a character nonetheless. And he's the biggest change within the film, and I think that was fantastic. And we really get to follow him. Bryan Cranston's really great in it. He does some really great voice work for his chief, and you really buy and believe what he's saying. Everybody else does a really, really great job as well. It's just such a whimsical, sort of fun film, but has a message, is trying to say something. You know, Wes Anderson's really talking about Japan and dogs and the relationship between humans and dogs and humans and animals. Because there are rats and owls and other things and cats that do appear in a film as well. And he sort of has a real respect and understanding for it. What I really love about Wes Anderson is, yes, his films are similar in a way, but they always look different. They have different characters. He's doing stop motion and animation. He's doing comedies and dramas and a mixture of things. And it's just really fascinating to watch. He's a really exciting filmmaker, for one, and two, he has a distinct and unique style. And you can always tell when it's a Wes Anderson film. And it's so great to see that, to have a director who has a distinct style, and you know it's him. It's his type of movie every time. And just the way that the actors, whether they're doing voice or characters, is they play it so straight, but the humour comes from that. Playing it straight by the way it's written. He has a lot of humour in his films, and this is very, very funny. Probably one of the funniest movies he's done. There are dramatic elements to it, but ultimately there's a lot of humour to be had here and a lot of fun. And when you're not immersed in the story, you're just watching all these minute details that he's created with all this stop motion. And the dogs he created, the cities, the people, the animals, it's all fantastic. There has been a bit of complaint about not having subtitles for the Japanese characters, but I think it really works. You sort of know what they're saying without understanding them completely. And when they have something important to say, there's someone who does interpretation, or there's a voiceover explaining things. So we don't really need to have subtitles every single time with someone talking. So I really like that concept. I really like the story. I really like the characters. The young boy Atari is fantastic and does is really fun to watch. And it's just a great and all-around really exciting and fun film. And just, he has something to say. In every one of his movies, especially here, he has something to say. And he really accomplishes what he sets out to do. And when he sets his mind to something, he makes that film no matter what happens. And he does such a great job here. I was thoroughly and really, really impressed with this film, and it's going in my top 10 films of the year so far. I've just been hit with so many great movies lately. It's just refreshing, exciting to see, and he really is a refreshing, exciting director to watch. I'd put him in the category of Tarantino. Not that they make the same films, but they have unique styles, and you can always tell when it's one of their movies. Look, final verdict. I think this is a really great film. It's really well done. It's an interesting story. There's a lot of humour to have. Visually, it's striking, and it's fascinating to see how much detail he went to make these characters and these dogs and animals come to life on the screen, as well as their surroundings. If you're a fan of Wes Anderson, you'll probably really love this. Any Wes Anderson fan would probably thoroughly enjoy this film. It has everything you want for a Wes Anderson film. And if, it's not really a film for young kids. Some kids a bit older, probably around the 11 or 12-year-old, might get a lot out of it, but the younger ones may miss a lot of it, and I don't think it's a lot appropriate and in parts for younger kids. Look, I'm going to give this 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was so well done, so interesting, so fascinating, beautifully looking, made film that Wes Anderson has truly outdone himself this time. If you enjoyed what you've seen here today, please hit subscribe down the bottom. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.